Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the K and B Music Den. I am your friend Keith, and you, sir,
I'm always Brad.
always steady, reliable Brad. How are things going for you, buddy?
Pretty good. I had a headache, so we'll see how this goes.
Oh, geez,
Yep,
yeah, you had a headache. Headaches come and go.
they do.
It's kind of like people;
Yeah, that's true. That's
they
true.
come and go.
But as Ice Cube says, today was a good day. So
There we go. Well, and if we're gonna do that, as Kermit says, hi ho, everybody. There we go. You see, he's got the wireless headphones on
yeah,
there.
he does.
So this picture it must not have been taken in the '70s during the Muppet Show era because they didn't have that technology yet.
No, not at all.
So how many people do you think have already clicked off this video because we're not talking about what we said we're going to talk about?
75%.
All right, well let's go for 80. So no, so folks, all right, let's get to the meat of the matter. If you are new to our channel, if you're a New York Dolls fan, and that's why you clicked on this video, let us take a moment to explain. This is what we call the Goldilocks game. And this is where we take an album, could be from any era of music, any genre. Um, Primarily, we pick an album that we feel, has some sort of notoriety, or maybe, doesn't have as much as we feel it should, or what have you. So we put it to the test. So just like with Goldilocks, is it just right? Is it underrated? Or is it overrated? So we've done a handful of these already. So please, if you're new to the channel, subscribe and go back and check out some of the ones we've done. We've done some pretty interesting ones like Velvet Underground and Nico. And what else did we do? We've done
The Clash.
The Clash. Yeah. Was
Yep.
that the one we started with? I think.
That was very first
Yeah. So
intro.
stuff like that. Yeah. But today, this was my choice. We're going to talk about the New York Dolls, their debut album, self-titled, and just one of those bands I've noticed. I keep hearing the name. I know I had heard a song here and there, throughout my life, but never really dove in. And to me, this was a perfect band for this Goldilocks game, just to see what we both end up thinking. So, Brad, as I usually do, ask you, what was your level of fandom or knowledge or awareness of this band before we dove into this for Goldilocks?
Lower than it should have been because I like a lot of bands from this era and from this scene, have you? So I mean,
Yeah,
it's surprising that I'm a little bit low when it comes to the New York Dolls because I like the Iggy Pop and the Stooges, the MC5, a
yeah.
lot of these other bands that kind of So I'm surprised I didn't know New York Dolls as well as I did.
I'm a bit surprised too, and it's kind of funny. This almost seems like, and this may be the first time with the Goldilocks game for us, it almost seems like this is one where I would have thought you would have picked it instead of me.
Yeah, exactly.
So interesting. Um, but yeah, well, I'll start here. The first time I listened to it, now obviously I've listened to it several times, which is we like to,
Sure.
marinate in these, as you say. So the first time, I enjoyed it, but I was still not sure. Okay, is this a big deal? Is this just kind of a band that you don't hear about as much, and maybe there's a reason? I was trying to put my finger on it, and as I continued to listen, what I think and I'm still not 100% sure. I'll be honest with you, I'm still wrestling with this one. But I think to me, this is a band that they burn out real fast. I think they only had two real true, albums, and then there's other like maybe singles and
Sure.
compilations and different things. But I may have that wrong. New York Dolls fans, please let me know if I do in the comments. But from what I remember reading and kind of seeing, it looked like they had two like real main albums, and then it just kind of burn out. Um, so I think if you're thinking, well, they have a similar talent to this band or that band, or I've seen I read and I agree with it that it's kind of like a sleazier version of the Rolling Stones in some ways, their
Mm-hmm.
sound, which
Mm-hmm.
I agree with, which is
I do
cool.
too.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if they don't get a lot of attention because simply, I mean, the Rolling Stones have how many albums? Like 20 some albums,
Sure.
and these guys have basically two. So that's got to be
Mm-hmm.
part of it. And I
Oh,
think
of
that's
course.
fair. I think that's
Oh, of
fair.
course.
Um, but yeah, I mean, as we were about to start this video, and I think as I talk to you a little more, maybe it'll help me solidify my decision. I'm really on the fence between Just Right and actually overrated, believe it or not. But so let's talk. What are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is kind of a scene where I knew a little bit more, and I'm surprised I didn't know so much about them. But as I dove in, I'm kind of like you. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I don't think this stands out as one of the most important albums from that era, to me.
Okay.
So, I mean, for me, I'm kind of sitting the same way you were. I mean, I went through some of the songs. I don't like Personality Crisis. I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
Trying to think of some of the other ones. Trash. I mean, not Trash. Right after Trash.
Yeah, Trash is good.
Trash was good. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Bad Girl, I enjoyed. So, I mean, they had a lot of good songs, but I don't know that it's as, because the New York Dolls, when you think of that name, you see T-shirts, you see,
Yeah.
This is kind of an iconic album. I don't know that to me this is like as iconic as the. This might be more of a fashion statement than it is a, an album that goes down on lore for me.
Good points. I kept thinking, okay, what is the difference? Like, it is kind of a sleazier Rolling Stone version of the Rolling Stones sound, but I think the album is a bit front loaded.
Yeah. Very front loaded. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, for all the DRA fans there, did you happen to notice how track 2, Looking for a Kiss, starts?
Oh, yeah.
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 I never knew that reference until
Yeah.
Yeah, the beautiful sorta start for Ryan Adams on Cold Roses. Better believe me, LUV.
Yeah.
So that finally clicked for me. But that aside, see, we can fit Ryan Adams into every video somehow.
Pretty much.
So he must be a fan, I guess, if he knew that. But
Yeah.
so yeah, but I think the songwriting on the whole maybe doesn't quite hold up to these iconic bands that everybody always talks about, like the Stones.
Yeah.
And the vocals for me were good but not great. I mean, I know
I agree with that.
That's
I
kind of
think
the
that's
style.
I think that's part of it for me as to
Yeah.
why it didn't. The vocals to me were just okay, and there was nothing that stood out about them.
And it's interesting because I can't tell you how many times in my life, and now that I'm older, where I got so hung up on vocals that I was missing something. I mean, Bob Dylan, for example.
Yeah.
And then finally something clicked with me, and I'm like, oh, I mean, it just is what it is. Like, no one else could possibly sing these songs, and they're so well written. I do want to also say something, and again, this was their first album, so I mean, I'm being a little tough maybe, but for a lot of the accolades you do see about it and being a big deal, and like you said, the T-shirts and all, I think you're right about the fashion. It was more of like, oh, this is different. This is something to pay attention to, but I think it falls short of greatness.
Yeah.
And part of it, I think, and again, their first album, but I think the musicianship of the band isn't really quite there.
No.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think this is a band that was very popular for style, for the cool factor, for the scene that they were in. But musically, if you just called them a different name and put them in a different region, like they were in Minnesota, and you called them something different, they wouldn't have caught on like this, I don't think.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, the cool factor.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it, because I think this band, I think this album, and it's weird because it sounds contradictory because some of the other things we're saying maybe to some people, but I think this album, you would probably agree, in this band are undeniably cool.
Oh yeah, I would probably prefer to be in this band than the Rolling Stones, just as far as like, hanging out, and I mean they seem like a fun group of guys, and I don't know, but I think you're right. I think that the cool factor seems to be right. I would agree that this is cool, a cool band.
Yeah.
Do the songs stand up to the coolness? Probably not so much.
Now, I'm thinking of an example right now as we're talking about this of a band that is undeniably cool, but the songs hell yes, they stand up. And this is a totally different era, but I'm thinking of the Strokes.
This, yeah. As soon as you started saying that, I knew you were going to say the Strokes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know me so well.
Yep.
So, yeah, man, we're on the fence. I mean, excuse me, I'm on the fence here. Did I enjoy listening to it? Yes. I don't know how much I'll return to it though, and that usually is a big factor for me in making these decisions about how my porridge turned out. But I think if I'm gonna have to make a decision now, which I do, or this video will go on forever, I'm gonna, by a hair, I'm actually gonna say they're overrated. The album's overrated.
Sure. I'm going to lean that direction with you. I think it's close because it does have it does have that factor of the cool factor. It came from that time frame. It's definitely not underrated, that's for sure. I mean, it's not even close to being underrated. Yeah, it's got a huge following. But yeah, I would say it's a tad overrated.
And I am open to the fact, because this has happened to me before. I am open to the fact for this album in particular, the New York Dolls debut, to turn out to be a grower.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, for that reason alone, I'm interested to see how that pans out. So I might revisit it more than I necessarily would have, just to see if it grows, because for whatever reason, I think it deserves that. But yeah, I mean, there's some really good songs on there. Like we said, a bit front loaded. And that's what kind of gave me some high hopes, because those first few tracks, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of, didn't quite have enough steam to get to the finish line with the same how it had to start, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yep.
So, well, I'll tell you what, New York Dolls fans, please, we love comments of all kinds, so please feel free to trash us.
It's possible.
But hey, I think a lot of our subscribers, there's a possibility they were like us, where I've heard the name, I've heard a song or two, but I never really dove into that album. Please feel free to do it with us, and that's what the game's all about, sharing music. So please feel free to do that and weigh in the comments what you think of this album, New York Dolls debut, self-titled. So by a hair for both of us, it seems, Brad and I both fell on the overrated side, which we haven't done a whole lot of overrated yet, have we?
Not overrated, no. That might be one of the first ones, yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. And again, go back. It's called Goldilocks Game. So go back. We've done a handful of albums already, so please check this out. So Brad, you know what it means. I chose New York Dolls. So what's on the plate of porridge for the next episode that we're going to work on for Goldilocks Game? What is your choice? The floor is yours, sir.
Well, sir, I'm picking something for two reasons here.
Okay.
And then, like you said, this album you would have thought I would pick. I think this album is something you would have picked.
Okay.
Now, one reason I'm picking it is because of the name and how important it is to me currently with some other artists that I'm really into. And two, I Googled most underrated albums of all time, and this came up as number one.
Oh, my goodness.
I thought, okay, this is going to be fascinating.
Wow.
And it's No Deeper Blues by Townes Van Zandt.
Oh, great choice.
How familiar are you with him?
I'm moderately familiar, but that particular album title I'm not as familiar with. I probably have lazily listened to more of like compilations and things.
Yeah.
So I'm thrilled you picked this. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm excited to hear it, and obviously, you had a couple fans like Justin Townes are all I'm really into right now, and he was named after Townes, and this guy had a following. Man, people were following the songwriter around like he was a legend. So yeah, I want to hear it. Give it my thoughts.
I do remember there have been times throughout my life where I got on a Townes kick. But again, I have listened to some of his albums. I'd have to see that cover and remind myself if I ever heard this particular one. Is this considered like his,
Apparently so.
Okay.
Apparently so. Yeah.
And you looked up somewhere that said it was the most underrated album ever.
So, I mean, to me, this really puts in let me see if that's the case. Let me see if this is highly underrated.
Well, this is absolutely perfect for Goldilocks.
It is. Absolutely.
Tailor-made, yeah. So, all right. Well, Townes Van Zandt. I'm sorry. Remind me of the album name, sir.
No Deeper Blues.
Okay. No Deeper Blues by Townes Van Zandt, folks. That'll be the next one up on the docket here for Goldilocks. So, please listen along with us. Tell us what you think about the porridge. Is it just right, underrated, overrated? And again, weigh in on New York Dolls. We hope you enjoy this game that we came up with. I think it's a lot of fun. And Brad, you always come very prepared and with lots of interesting things to say. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So, folks, as always, Brad, I am your friend Keith, and this is the KMB Music Den. Please like this video, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel, smash the bell for notifications. You'll be notified every time we drop new content here on the channel. And we look forward to seeing you soon. More albums coming out, more reviews, more Goldilocks, more song versus song we're bringing back. So stick around, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for all the support, and have a great day. See you, buddy.
See you, bud.
Bye.